Welcome to Big Things. I'm Mitzi. This is Mike.
And this is our show where we talk about the big things that we're seeing in marketing, social media, pop culture, and sports. We'll also talk about the signals that we're watching and how they could inform the future of digital marketing. You can catch the show every week on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, be sure to check us out on Instagram and just be part of the conversation.
Yeah, and leave us a comment on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. We just would love to hear from you. So it's great to be here.
All my PYTs, pretty YouTubers.
Oh, cute. Today we're going to be covering a few big things. The first one is Instagram is downgrading creators' view quality if they're not driving enough views. Apple is slowing down production of the Vision Pro. And Morgan Stanley is letting clients invest in sports leagues.
Who's Morgan Stanley? We're about to find out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But man, it feels good to be back.
It does.
The last time we were
it feels
here,
good to be a gangster.
Wow, that's a throwback.
I know.
This chair reminds me of when I was healthy.
Well, you're healthy again.
I am healthy again.
It's just been a bit of a journey since we were here last.
Yes, we had to delay a few recordings because we got hit with a crazy stomach bug. It was unlike one we've ever experienced, and it took everyone in our family out. And we have 2 young kids, so both of us struggling with that, and then them also struggling with that. It was a tough few days.
It was. It was first our daughter while we were away at a conference, and then our son as she just finally got better. And then we were last, but we got hit at the same time. And it happened to be the weekend that both of my parents who live in the same city as us were gone for different reasons.
Yeah.
And we weren't okay.
I was not okay.
We survived, but
I was like, can we hire a nurse to come and help us?
Like, where do I pay for private health care?
Yeah, I was so desperate. I was really like at the bottom.
Yeah, it's really something when both of us are out of commission.
Mm-hmm. That's like the one downside of doing this together. Like if we're both out fully, like everything is on hold.
Yeah.
Like business, podcast, childcare, like it's tough.
Yeah, we had to clock out on Friday from work and reschedule some things and push some deadlines and I got my first migraine as far as I understand it. I didn't know at first what it was, but obviously had a headache. It came on kind of slowly, but I also had vertigo. I was dizzy. I felt like I was disoriented. My eyes hurt. I couldn't focus.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't hold eye contact with you or the kids. Questions were hard. I'm glad it was just a migraine and not something more serious. But.
Yeah, I'm glad you weren't just mad at me. But I was truly concerned because I've never seen you have a migraine. We are one of the lucky few people who don't get migraines.
I barely get headaches.
I know, same. I never get headaches. If I get a headache, it's like my ponytail. It's like never serious. I'm very thankful that we don't have migraines. But
because we got freaking vaxxed, isn't it?
Stop. Don't get into that.
Politics.
No. Stay with us. We're trying to build
We're a couple of sheep
here.
and we got vaxxed.
No.
We didn't get all the boosters, but...
Stop.
Now we're paying the price.
Okay, let's move on.
Got my first migraine.
We should talk about the conference we were at.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was really good. We went to the gathering. We took 12 of our team, including us, and it was so fun. It was 3 days in the mountains in Banff. We got to hear from amazing speakers. My favorite was Gary Vee, which I was not expecting to like so much.
Yeah.
No offense to Gary Vee people, but I just felt like I've consumed so much of his content. I was expecting to just kind of like it to feel like the same, but it was so good.
I think we still think of like grind culture, Gary Vee
hustle
from like
culture,
around like 2020 or like late 2010s, and he just seems more grounded now, like a little more well-rounded, a little more like you don't have to break your back to do this, but just be smart, work smarter, not harder kind of vibe, and I'm subscribing to that.
And he was so validating to us because we're in the business of social media, and like obviously he talked a lot about that and how it's such like a great time to be in that space and how important it is to brands.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool to hear from him. I also really loved hearing from the creative director of Pinterest, and she had such a unique point of view, and like I just loved what she and her team are doing at Pinterest, and yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pinterest Predicts, and I feel like they've done a really good job of like helping people think ahead of time instead of just being reactive to everything. And they're kind of one of the inspirations for us in the trend reports we've started to produce, even
Yeah.
though we think a little bit differently about it.
Totally. And then we also heard a lot from the NFL. So the NFL, like the marketing team, and then they also brought some players.
And their head of social media.
And their agency partner. So they brought like their agency partner that does like their Super Bowl commercials, which is 72 and Sunny, which is an agency I really look up to. And then they also had their social creator agency. Anyways, I went to every single NFL talk that was offered because I just like am excited about the space, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really sweet that they brought a couple athletes like Diana Flores from the flag football side of things, and then Brandon Marshall, who used to be an awesome wide receiver. And now it was cool to hear from him because he's really been an advocate for players as media entities.
Yeah.
And he's kind of been one of the big kind of tipping points or difference makers to give athletes a bit of a platform outside of just their play on the field. Like he was one of the first people to be on, I think it was an ESPN panel. I think it was called Around the NFL or something like that. And now he has his own company, I Am Athlete, that represents a lot of these athletes to become creators.
Right.
And to work with brands.
So he walked so the Kelsey brothers could run.
Exactly.
Respect
that man.
Yeah, it was really good.
And he was an elite athlete. He was an elite wide receiver. Yeah, for sure. He was around when I was just getting into fantasy football too. I remember at the time he was like one of the sought after fantasy wide receivers. Now he's just an OG.
It was cool what he was saying about like his cleats. Like he helped start this like movement with the NFL.
My Cause, My Cleats.
Yeah, My Cause, My Cleats. But basically, I guess there was like a game that he wanted to wear these neon cleats, and it was at a time where you couldn't really do that, or you still can't, I guess.
There's always been really heavy restrictions in the NFL for wearing custom anything. It's funny because you can wear like watches and jewelry.
Yeah, like crazy jewelry.
But you can't customize any of your equipment. So sometimes players would wear custom cleats and they'd get fined for it. And he was one of the players that instead of just doing it in a way for clout or to flex, he was starting to do it attached to causes. And I think the story you're talking about was for mental health awareness.
Yeah. So he wanted to wear this pair of like lime green cleats to a game. And they kept saying like, you can't wear those cleats. You're not allowed to wear those cleats. If you wear those cleats, we'll fine you. He's still planning to wear those cleats. And then I guess they like knocked on his hotel door and they're like, we can't let you on the field with those cleats. And then he was like, well, then you tell the fans why I'm not playing today. And he like slammed the door on them. But then from there, it like really got him like, he really got determined and he went to the NFL commissioner's office like every day asking him to like let the players do something with like raising awareness for causes they care about. So like because he was so relentless, the NFL commissioner finally said, fine, like we'll create a cause about this, like do whatever and just get out of my office. So now they have this like one game a year or something where they can like all these players pick a different cause and they like wear cleats based on those causes and raise awareness for those causes and lots of money for those causes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's cool to be a change maker that way.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a great conference. It was also fun to just have quality time with our leads and directors.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite sessions was around sonic branding. I think it was with Song Trader. And then I went to Inner Sanctum with them. Inner Sanctum is kind of like a smaller like workshop session with them and Massive Music. And we got to do this exercise. Morgan, our producer, was there too. We got to do this exercise where they basically gave us a pretend brand and kind of a tone or style guide for it. And then gave us worksheets and played a bunch of different tracks for us. And we got to kind of rank and share notes about whether we felt those tracks were on brand for the type of, like what they were trying to accomplish with that sound, whether they were trying to contrast an element of the brand or like express comfort or things like that. So it was cool to just kind of have this like interactive session where we got to actually kind of pull back the curtain and see part of the process and start to pull out our own kind of perceptions and understandings about what a track or sound accomplishes from a branding standpoint. And I've been really excited the last couple of years to work with our team to integrate that a little bit more because we do so much around content. And you can get like royalty-free music or pick songs in-app, but it just doesn't do the same thing as like a well-produced or composed track or even sound design, depending on what the treatment is. But yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it was super cool. speaking of sound, our team did another very on-brand thing, I think, for us, is we
Yeah?
went and sang karaoke.
Oh. Yeah, sonic branding for us is just karaoke.
Yeah, it's bad singing, which I'm very proud of. It was so fun. We went for dinner to Hello Sunshine, and they have like private karaoke rooms, so we definitely had to indulge there, and it was great.
If you could only sing one karaoke song over and over again until you die, which one would it be?
I can't pick one.
You have to, just right now, for the sake of the audience. Now for the class.
Probably Super Bass by Nicki Minaj.
I knew it was going to be Nicki Minaj.
Only because people get really excited about me rapping, and I think it's like a crowd pleaser.
And I feel like Nicki is approachable on karaoke because she's got like raps that are learnable.
Yes.
But also like melodies that are like achievable.
And it's not like too hard.
Yes,
like sometimes
when
I've done like other rap songs and people are like, no one wants to hear me say those words.
Yeah.
It's like a little too far. So yeah.
We don't need to be trying like Swiss Beats or like Jadakiss or like crazy raps like that.
I've done like Cardi B ones.
Yeah.
And that sometimes like, in a workplace setting, it makes
vulgar.
people uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, try to keep it PG.
Fair enough.
PG-13.
It's crazy that we'd be calling Nicki Minaj PG.
Totally.
But compared to Cardi B?
She can be for sure.
Yeah.
We should get into the first big thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to do it or me?
I'll do
it. Okay, Instagram is downgrading creators' video quality if they're not driving enough views. According to Adam Mosseri, Instagram is maximizing its data storage potential and minimizing the cost of that storage by degrading the quality of videos posted by creators that it doesn't bring enough views. He said, "We bias to higher quality or more CPU intensive encoding and more expensive storage for bigger files for creators who drive more views." He also said that Instagram lowers the quality of older videos whose view counts have dropped off if something isn't watched for a long time. Because the vast majority of views are at the beginning, we will move to lower quality video, he said. There is, however, a path to high quality. If an older video is watched again a lot, we will re-render it to a higher quality video. This has been met with a lot of backlash, of course, with some people responding and saying that from a creator's perspective, spending time on creating high-quality content just for it to be downgraded to low resolution really sucks. And there was a social media consultant, Matt Navarra, who we're big fans of. He told the BBC that Mosseri's post seemed somewhat contradict Instagram's earlier messages or efforts to encourage new creators. So I think this is super interesting because I think I never zoomed out to think, what does Instagram pay for storage? Like, I kind of forget that all this content like needs a server, right?
Right.
Like it needs like things to like run it. You just kind of consider like, doesn't it sit in the cloud somewhere?
Well, there would still be servers.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure they pay an incredible amount.
Yeah.
But they also make an incredible amount of money.
Right.
So I don't think we need to be empathetic towards Instagram about their server costs.
No, I'm not empathetic, but I guess I never considered it. I never considered like, oh, there has to be a way to decide or not. Why can't they just give everyone the highest quality content uploads, you know?
Yeah.
But it's hard for me because Instagram has like always been the platform that like really is proud of being a platform for creators and to support creators on the app. Like it's always publicly said that it's for creators. It's never been for businesses. Like as a business account, it's actually really hard to get a lot of traction. And as an agency that supports business accounts, that's really frustrating. But we've always known like Instagram is going to cater towards creators, not other accounts. So it's also discouraging to see that like smaller brands or smaller creators can't really get the same high quality of content when they're competing based on views.
Yeah, I think it makes me feel that all the stuff that they've said about wanting to give small creators more of a platform is just virtue signaling. It's just trying to keep those creators from leaving to go to TikTok or other platforms. It's not actually because they care. I think this shows that that everything that they do is still for the big creators and celebrities and entertainment properties. Mm-hmm. When I say entertainment properties, I'm talking about like TV, movies, comedians, sports, and athletes,
Right.
basically. And I think about the ones that would typically have more high production content, which would be all of those, all of
Right.
the above. You know,
Right.
sports, it's on the brand side, it's not necessarily on the creator side, but it's high production content that drives an incredible amount of attention.
Right.
So I think those are still the properties and the people and the entities that they clearly prioritize. Because I think it makes sense to me if older content gets compressed. Because yeah, we've all moved on. Like
Right.
These days, you know, if something's more than a week old, we're not seeing it again. It used to be 24 hours. I think
Right.
now the way the algorithm is, you could still see something from last week in your
For
algorithm.
sure.
But after that, no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. But what I think is frustrating is the fact that it doesn't serve creators proportionately because of their size.
Yeah.
So like for example, if a creator at our level, like say they have 2,500 followers, they're posting reels consistently and they're getting 1,000 views per video, which is pretty good for someone with 2,500 followers. That's, what is that? How much of what percentage is that? 40% of their audience size
I
in
don't know.
video views. But you compare that to a big creator with 250,000 followers and they're posting reels consistently and getting 25,000 views. That's only 10% of their audience size, but they're still going to get prioritized over the small creator, even though the proportions are actually better for the smaller creator, which would signal better content, more resonance from the content from the small creator, but it's better from a volume perspective from the big creator. So it just goes to show that big creators are going to continue to win, regardless of like the percentages or proportions.
Or how good their content is.
Exactly.
Because sometimes big creators can put out content, like it's going to get the views because they have a bigger following.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. Like unlike TikTok, for example, there's so many small creators who have views or videos that go for like hundreds and thousands of views because their content's just good. Like that's a platform for creators where like anyone can really go viral and like build an audience. Well, on Instagram, it's just like so hard to do that.
Yeah. TikTok seems like the great equalizer right now.
Truly.
Anybody and their pet dog could go viral tomorrow.
For sure. And that's, the danger of it too, because so much misinformation can get spread on TikTok because it can just all go viral.
Yeah, I think it kind of almost brings me back to like, I don't know, years ago, I feel like a lot of people would talk about like Instagram engagement pods where they'd like get together with their friends and they'd have a group chat. And then whenever one of them posted, they'd let the group chat know and everyone would go engage with it. And I feel like we kind of have that a little bit organically with Arcade because we have like our team of people that work here and we're all kind of paying attention to our Instagram and TikTok. So when something new goes live, we're all kind of like jumping on it organically. But I'm sure that gives some boost to views and engagement and just like Instagram's ranking of how important that content is.
Yeah.
Which is helpful. So I think maybe that would be a piece of advice for people to try and test again is create a little engagement pod with you and your little creator friends or you and your sports enthusiasts or whatever it is and just help each other get a little bit more of that algorithm favor, but also that video production quality.
I know. Because like there's a lot of work that goes into these videos. And I think in this ranking system, Instagram should be looking at how old the content is, like you said, but also not necessarily the size of your audience, but how frequently you post. Because like there are people out there who are creators and they're actively working on making more content and they're posting more frequently. And then there's people out there who are just like, they're here for the vibes, they're just watching content. It's like, or like family members, like they're not trying to be creators. They're like post stuff here and there, but like quality of video doesn't really matter for them, or like it doesn't like weigh the same. So I feel like they should factor that in and less on like views and more on like how often are you using a platform.
Yeah. It also, I think, going back to the fact that it's favoring big creators in entertainment and celebrities, it just shows their true priority, which they have said before. And TikTok says the same thing, which they want to kind of replace television.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, who doesn't?
Yeah, so they want better production for the more entertaining and more like A-list figures and they want longer attention for those people. And everyone else is just kind of like participants, and sometimes they'll go viral just to keep them on the platform.
Yeah.
One thing I think is interesting to think about is that it may just inevitably drive more dissonance between those big types of creators and their high production and the rest of us and our like lo-fi UGC style content, which if there's still a lot of us producing that kind of content, I think there will always be attention and desire for that kind of content too, because like you kind of notice and engage more with stuff you're more accustomed to seeing. I think that's why lo-fi has performed well for so long, is because it blends in. That's why brands go for that UGC style content a lot, because that's what people are used to seeing. And so they want to see it from brands for it to feel like part of the conversation. And I think that we're just going to see more and more of that from small creators. It's like, okay, if my high production content is just going to get compressed anyway, I may as well just shoot this on my iPhone in my room with just natural lighting rather than worrying about the set.
Yeah. And iPhones today, the quality is pretty good.
They're pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And vlogs are like more and more going in that direction. You would know this better than me, but I think just from like watching from the sidelines, it's like edit it as little as possible, like produce it as little as possible in terms of like creating sets and environments and lighting and everything. You know, it's more about creating a storyline than it is about production level.
Yeah. Lesson here is go to YouTube.
Yeah, true. We're trying to spend more time on YouTube. We like YouTube. It seems a little bit more reasonable around here. The last thing I'll say about this that I was thinking about, because I've just been trying to think about practical takeaways for our people here.
I love it.
But I think thinking about the fact that video gets lower quality and more compressed the more it sits, the thing that comes to mind for me is Instagram highlights. Because I think a lot of people, especially brands, will create Instagram highlights early, because we talk a lot about how your Instagram profile should kind of feel like your website.
Yeah.
Like
should answer all the
people
questions.
Shouldn't have to leave Instagram to get the information they want about you. So you create highlights about you and about your services, and you show some case studies or some examples, and you show some trips and times, like exciting things like the conference we just went to, or like employee engagement, whatever it might be. But that can end up just sitting there for a couple of years because you put a lot of time into creating it and you don't want to recreate it over and over again. But this might just be a signal that we need to recreate that content a little bit more frequently.
Yeah.
So that it's not getting deprioritized.
We do. Yeah. I think that's one of the first things we always do with the new client is like reset all their Instagram highlights.
Yeah. But maybe it's an annual thing instead of a...
Yeah, I think they do like pretty often. Yeah, Mel and the team.
Forget me then.
Shout out to the social team who's always on top of those highlights, but also our internal like engagement bots.
Yes. Our engagement pod. No one's bots around here.
Not bots.
Yeah.
Not bots.
All real humans.
Pods. I feel like our team does such a good job at hyping up our TikToks. So if you are on TikTok, you should go check out Arcade's TikTok. I'm just like so proud of the team and all the work that they're putting into that account. It's really fun to watch it.
Yeah. It's been cool. It's actually been growing too, which is hard to grow a brand account these days.
Yeah, especially our Halloween TikTok, which I must say was really good.
Was it? Did it get
Didn't
good
you
engagement?
Watch it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was good from like an enjoyment standpoint.
Yeah, which
Did
is
it perform
good.
well?
I mean, it's doing fine.
Okay.
It's not amazing,
Cool.
but yeah, it could use
I'm
some
not a big
love.
Halloween stan, so
I know.
it's neither here nor there.
Speaking of TikTok, I've been watching so much New York City Marathon content. I can't stop crying. Like I had to stop myself from watching it before this recording, but it's all so good and so emotional. Like there's so many videos of people like seeing their loved ones, like cheering for them as they're running and stopping and like hugging them. And like there was this teacher who was running and his whole class showed up, like kids and their parents. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to start crying. But it's really, really cute. And then there's another, like all the signs, like New York City Marathon signs are so amazing. This year they were like 10 out of 10. Like I feel like I just need to experience the New York City Marathon.
Maybe you do.
Maybe
I still
do.
remember when you ran your half marathon in Vancouver.
That's nice.
That was when we were dating, and that was like a canon event for you.
That was. It was. I mean, running in general is so hard. Like literally running around the block is hard.
Yeah.
But running a marathon
running.
is so hard. So I just have so much respect for people who do it. And I think this year might be the year that I do another half marathon. I can't run a full marathon yet. I'm too scared. But
You can
I think
definitely run a half marathon.
Yeah, I think I want to do a half marathon.
The furthest I've ran since high school was a 5K, and that was one time just because I woke up one day and I had to prove to myself that I could do it.
But
and
that's the crazy thing is you just woke up one day and did it. Yeah. Imagine what you could do if you trained.
It wasn't like off the couch, though. I was doing like Peloton rides and stuff like that. So it wasn't like the craziest thing to be able to do a 5K, but I was sore for 3 or 4 days after that. Used muscles I didn't know existed. But I don't think I could do a half, let alone a full marathon.
I think if you wanted to, you could.
Okay, let me correct myself. I don't want to do a half or a full marathon.
I've never wanted to do a full marathon because I'm really scared of having to go to the bathroom during a marathon. And also,
that's the thing that's going to keep you?
Like, that kind of freaks me out.
I feel like you got to be sweating enough that you're not going to need to pee.
No, lots of people have to pee during a full marathon.
Just pee yourself.
That's like 4 hours. Pee yourself in public?
It's all the same. Pee is sterile. You're sweating, you're peeing, you're crying, you're
You're
so sneezing.
Gross.
Like,
no, but what if you have to do the other thing? Like in
hooped.
The middle of a marathon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and lots of people do.
Really?
Apparently, yeah. So that's why
So what happens?
Well, they have porta potties all over it. Like all over the marathon route. Because you have your body is still,
I'd be stopping at porta potties just for a break.
Lots of people do too. And there's people who haven't you ever seen a marathon or the marathon content? Like people,
yeah, of course I've seen content, but I don't see porta potties.
Yeah. There's tons of porta potties. And they have long lineups. That's the other thing. So if you need to go potty.
Wait, are athletes sharing porta potties with just fans and observers?
No. It's just for the runners.
Well, porta potties aside, you mentioned some good signs. Mm-hmm. What are some of the highlights? Do you remember?
Yeah, there's so many. One I saw said, "I also love attention," or "Run if you think I'm hot." In the club, we're all fam. All this for a little attention. You're running better than the government.
That is timely content right there.
Mm-hmm. There's a sign that said, "Worst parade ever." Slow down. I can't tell if you're cute. There's a sign that said, "Therapy was also an option." I bet you're second guessing this year's resolution.
That's why you don't do New Year's resolutions.
Looking for a boyfriend. Run like your mom just used your full name.
Oof.
Go random stranger. Run like a stallion. Hurry up so we can drink. So many good ones. And there's also, I saw a TikTok of this group of friends. They chose a generic name and they chose John and they made a sign and they're like, "Yeah, John." And so in the app, the New York City Marathon app, you can find the runners you're training for and see where in real time they are. So you can go and meet them in the marathon route. And they would pick a spot and then just see when the next Johns are coming and they'd cheer for Johns. And it's a video of all these guys named John being like, "Wow, thank you." They're just so touched that people are there cheering for them. It's so funny.
Sucks to have a niche name on New York
Mike.
Marathon Day.
Yeah.
No, Mike's common.
Oh, yeah.
As common as John.
Sorry. Yeah. Niche name for sure. They would never pick my
Henrietta.
Name. Yeah. Or Mitzi.
True. Although we've seen a few Mitzies.
Where?
Around. You've met a couple. There's been restaurants named Mitzi.
a restaurant named Mitzi that wasn't spelled the same. I've only met one Mitzi in my life.
Quite the reaction.
I'm actually possessive of my name.
I know. Should we get on to the next thing?
Yeah. Well, before we go on, I just want to talk about my favorite thing on the internet right now on TikTok.
This is an internet podcast.
It's Domingo. Domingo, the SNL skit, and I just think it's amazing. I can't stop watching it. I think about the song in my head over and over and over again. I've showed it to you. I don't think you're that excited, but it's when Ariana Grande was hosting SNL and she did this bridesmaid skit, and it was they did a pretend song to Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter's song. And then they talked about this guy that they the bride hooks up with, and then he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I can't do it right now." Yeah, it's so funny. I just can't stop watching it.
Yeah, it was good content. I just felt concerned for Ariana. She looks unwell.
Oh, Yeah.
I hate to say it.
Hate to say it.
I hope she has good friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Ariana, if you're watching this, we're here for you.
I think she's okay. I think she's just has stuff.
In a phase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Chappell Roan performed on SNL this week. I'm in I think maybe it's just my algorithm right now, but I get so much SNL content on my For You page, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. I used to actually watch a lot of SNL, but I haven't in a long time. But the skits that I'm seeing have been really funny.
I wonder how many people actually watch full like SNL show.
Probably
or
not
do most
as many.
people consume it this way, like
I
on
think
TikTok
so, yeah.
and
And
YouTube.
it's preferred, to be honest, because then I can just go and see like what has the most views.
Right.
And the good stuff, rises to the top.
I wouldn't mind watching a few just to get more familiar with some of like the new up and coming like comedic talent.
Yeah, that guy. I think his name's like Marcelo Hernandez. I can't remember, but
He also sent me another skit that it was like was it the same dude?
Yeah, so it was the Weekend Update, which has always been one of my favorite like staple skits or sketches that they do. And they had interviewed the most unlikely couple, and he was there with his girlfriend.
That one was funny.
And he was like so like crazy outgoing, and his girlfriend was like really meek, like quiet, and it was just so good.
Whoever she is, she played that really well.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
we can
get
move
on to thing 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
Apple is slowing down production of the Apple Vision Pro for now. A new report from The Information cites multiple people involved in making parts for Apple's Vision Pro headset say that production plans have been scaled back in recent months. This follows a Tim Cook interview published recently by Wall Street Journal, where he said, "Obviously, I'd like to sell more," but acknowledged that at $3,500, it's not a mass market product.
What a funny quote.
Obviously, I'd like to sell more.
Obviously, I'd like to sell more.
So Apple is shifting its strategy to focus on making a cheaper headset, which could ship as soon as next year. Tim Cook told Wall Street Journal, "Right now it's an early adopter product, people who want to have tomorrow's technology today. That's who it's for. But plenty of early adopters are probably waiting around for something a bit cheaper to land on more shelves." That's kind of where I'm sitting. I like to consider myself an early adopter to an extent, but $3,500 USD for something that's still experimental to me just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I would not consider myself an early adopter, nor do I strive to be. Like, I'm okay with waiting for the second wave. Like, I have not self-identified myself as like a VR goggle wearing person. It's just not for me. It's not compatible with makeup, to be honest, which is like a huge barrier for me.
To that point, I think it needs to be glasses. We talked about this a few episodes ago because of what Meta and Snapchat have been working on. But I think it's got to be lightweight glasses, like something that's comfortable to wear that doesn't completely remove you from your surroundings. And we can still interact while both having glasses on.
But even that, like, I just feel like it's too, like, the novelty is not exciting to me. Like, I did get to try the Apple Vision Pros. Shout out to Gary who lent me them, who also made me custom like makeup like things, like liners for it,
which
like is really sweet.
Yeah,
he just like cut it out in the shape of the Apple Vision Pros so I could wear them. But it was so heavy. It was very cool, but it was so heavy, and it's like I appreciate that the technology exists and it could be really cool, but it doesn't seem like something I would use in my everyday life.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah.
You got to be a thick neck daddy.
Last thing I want is a thick neck.
If you know, you know. Yeah, I think what Tim's saying makes sense. Like, it's an early adopter thing. It was meant to be something that begins the development of a new market. And it's cool to know that that's what it was. And now they're also moving quickly onto something that's next that will come soon. That's more mass market, more approachable from a price point standpoint. And you're going to see a lot more people start to have those devices, maybe me included.
Oh.
One thing that I was chatting with Gary, speaking of the guy, I was chatting with him about this just to get his take because he's like our Apple insider at Arcade. And one thing that he pointed out was that while there hasn't been a lot of traction yet on the consumer market, he's heard cases where it's been used in more of a commercial setting, like surgeons using it to assist with surgery. And if you get into more of a commercial setting like that, or medical, like healthcare, for example, suddenly that price point is so small compared to other equipment that they're getting for like an operating table or like a surgeon's room or even a doctor's office. So if you start to integrate VR with AI and other elements and it comes at a $5,000 Canadian, 3,500 USD price point, there's a potential market for that.
Yeah,
So
but I just don't see like why Apple would be in that business. Like they're for the
they're in the
everyday
business
consumer.
of money and
For
tech
sure.
that changes lives.
For sure. But like I don't disagree with that. But they're also like their main consumer is everyday people. Like everyone in the world has an iPhone.
Right.
So why would they
But
make
think of all the
specialty grade?
businesses that have Apple business accounts. Like there's definitely a commercial side of their business.
But even those Apple business accounts is to buy the same products that everyone else is buying. You know, they don't make specialty products. So I can definitely see the value in that, but I just don't see why Apple would be dabbling in that.
Well, it's just the reason to keep that model, keep a high price point model for early adopters, but also for people where the price point doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
It's pretty heavy. Imagine being in an operating room and like doing heart surgery and it falls.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to keep up.
Or like starts to plug your nose because it's just like resting on the bridge a little too heavy.
If it just like starts to like lean slightly off.
Or your face starts to get a little sweaty.
Totally, which I'm sure those surgeons like that
needs a built-in fan or like sweat wicking material.
Or like a system that's just responsible for keeping it in place.
Wow. Important task. Mm-hmm. Should we get into thing 3?
Well, before I moved on.
I was trying to move so quick from that one. What do you got?
Well, I was going to say, like, I personally don't see myself being one of those, like, VR goggle people. But
I knew there was a but coming. What do you got for me?
What I do want, I've been working on my Christmas list.
Okay.
And I think I want a red light mask.
Don't you have one?
No, I had one, a cheap version that broke.
Why'd it break?
Because it's a cheap version.
Oh.
But I want like a good one, like a medical grade red light mask. That's my big thing.
So where do you get a medical grade one? Not from Apple.
Amazon.
Because they're just for end users.
No, Apple is for the everyday consumer.
So medical grade isn't for the everyday consumer. So you probably don't need a medical grade one.
No, I definitely don't need a medical grade one. It's like the layer just before medical grade.
Got it.
If I'm honest.
Do I dare ask what else is on your wish list other than red light masks?
Just tons of little trinkets here and there.
Tons.
Tons. Just like little. Actually, I have a lot of things for the kitchen. You'd be pleased to know.
Yeah, you're on your kitchen wave, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Trad
I actually
wife.
want like a stop trad wife. I want a stand-up mixer. I really
Where is that gonna
resisted.
go?
I knew you would say that.
Oh my goodness. The amount of gear we have on our counter already.
I know.
We're also about to get a big new cutting board. Mm-hmm. It's going to take up half the counter.
But the cutting board is part of the counter. Like I think that'll fit perfectly there.
So is the stand-up mixer going to go on top of the cutting board?
I don't know. We're going to have to find a spot
This
for
is
it.
these are important questions. We need to
I
ask
know.
before we make the purchase.
But it reminded me of we are working on a Scan Club gift guide, which includes a few other not trending gifts, but things that we think could relate to trends coming up. Like, for example, pistachio, which I think we talked about on this show before. Pistachios on the rise. The price of pistachios is going up. Olive oil is also on the rise. These are like gifts that you can like get for people who look for something that maybe not everyone else is getting, not an average type of person to buy for. So look out for that. It's called Scan Club. You can subscribe to the newsletter and get it straight to your inbox.
Maybe we need to do a gift guide Mitzi's version. That's like
For
Mitzi wants a
sure.
cow. She wants a stand-up mixer.
Yes, a cow stand-up
She wants
mixer.
a red light face mask, medical grade.
No, just the layer right below it.
Right. Okay.
If there's 20 layers, it's layer 19.
Yeah, Scan Club has been popping this year, and I'm very excited to finish off the year with the gift guide and then start next year with the trend
The
report.
trend report. It's a lot.
You guys,
of
you
work.
got lots of good content to look forward to. Thank you, Morgan and
sure.
Alyssa.
Let's move on to the last big thing.
All right. Thing 3, Morgan Stanley is letting clients invest in sports leagues. The financial services company recently rolled out the Parametric Custom Core Sports Leagues strategy, a portfolio of holdings that you can't say 5 times fast. It's made up of publicly traded companies that sponsor specific sports properties. The idea of the sports sponsor portfolio came about when a Morgan Stanley client who works for a league asked if the company could put together a custom portfolio of sponsors of the league for him to invest in. The Morgan Stanley team initially viewed the opportunity as a way to allow athletes and team and league employees to financially support the properties they're affiliated with without investing directly, mostly due to some restrictions in the space, like the NBA's most recent collective bargaining agreement allows the Players Association to invest in NBA teams on behalf of all NBA players through select private investment funds, and it also allows players to invest in WNBA teams. But some leagues, like the NFL and NHL, prohibit active players from investing in franchises. Plus, the sports portfolio also allows non-athlete investors like us to get involved beyond just fandom, which I think is the most exciting element of this, probably because I'm not on a team.
Wait, you got to get into the minimum investment amount.
Sure. I'll share a bit more here. The company's aiming to target sports-centric clients and potentially bring in new ones, all while raising Morgan Stanley's profile in the sports space. Who doesn't want to raise their profile in the sports space right now? That being said, the offering isn't for every investor. Clients of Morgan Stanley financial advisors must meet an investment minimum of $250,000 in order to be eligible. So this sounds like a lot of money.
Right.
Because it is.
It is a lot of money.
But over the span of a typical middle-class person's career, investing $250,000 compounding isn't that crazy. Like that's achievable. And I think to put it into perspective, before something like this, when you think of team ownership or league ownership, that's like for hundreds of millionaires, if not billionaires, you know. That's for the Mark Cubans of the world and the Bezoses of the world and the Elon Musks of the world, or the Jay-Z's and Beyoncé's of the world, but not for us, you know? So $250,000 compared to that level of net worth is much more approachable for your typical middle class or entrepreneur or creator.
Definitely. I actually thought it was much lower. I mean, it's lower than I expected. I should say that. It's still high, but lower than I expected. I'm sure that minimum doesn't get you much, but it's still a piece of the pie.
I mean, that's a decent amount of money. So if you're investing at that level, I think you can decide how much of that portfolio goes towards sports teams and leagues.
Yeah. And you can choose from the portfolios of sponsors of the NBA, WNBA, NFL, NWSL, MLS, MLB, LPGA, PGA, NHL, USA Open Tennis, F1, NASCAR, and college basketball, according to Morgan Stanley.
So you got all the options.
Literally all of them.
If you had to pick one of those.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In terms of a league or
pick
or
a league
sport?
and then pick a team.
It depends. Like out of personal interest, I definitely want to be in on the NFL. But I think as a brand, it's like very far along the development curve, you know, and there's tons of brand deals. Obviously, it's growing in value year over year, so there's still investment potential there. But if you're really looking for a bigger payout, I feel like you want to be in something that's more early in the curve, which a few episodes ago, we talked about F1 and some of their recent dealings. And I feel like even though F1 is not a new sport, it's newer to like mass market outside of Europe because of the Netflix show, but also just compounding attention over the last couple of years specifically.
Yeah.
So, and also the fact that it's in Vegas now too, in North America. So I think I would probably try to think about that. If I could do both, I would love to think about getting in on the NFL and probably the Las Vegas Raiders.
Really? Why Las Vegas?
Because they're one of the newer NFL teams.
Does it have
stadiums.
an all-women's ownership group?
I think they have a woman president or CEO.
Right. Okay.
And she's a woman of color as well, which is really cool. But also it's newer. The stadium's newer. It's a newer market in Vegas. And then I'd also love to get into F1 and potentially specifically F1 in Vegas. I'm not personally a big fan of Las Vegas as a standalone place to go, although they have good food and you can have a good time. But I think I could become a fan if like I had a vested interest in a football team and F1. And I'd benefit both from like my personal interest and the investment opportunity and being earlier in the curve.
Yeah,
What about you?
interesting. Okay, if I had to pick a league, I would probably pick a women's league just because I
Nice.
know that it's just getting a lot
Also
more
early in
lucrative.
the
It's like,
curve.
yeah, early. It's not established yet. There's still like lots to go in terms of like creating teams, like additional teams that could bring in more value to the league. So I would probably do WNBA. Because there's been so much excitement around college women's basketball that naturally feeds into the value of women's professional basketball. I also I don't think I would invest in like an individual sport league like
Tennis.
Wimbledon or
Right.
US Open or whatever. Yeah, tennis or F1. Not that I have anything against F1. I just feel like team sports is just a bit more like potential around team and like so many more players. Like I just feel like there's more to build from. I don't have no idea what sport or what actual team in the WNBA I would want to invest in.
Probably whichever team Caitlin Clark is on.
Yeah, sure.
Indiana.
But what if it's like Indiana? Like that's the last place I said, no offense.
Yeah, maybe that's too short-sighted.
Yeah. So just like as a league, WNBA.
Is there a Vegas team? Let's just go all in on our Vegas shares.
I'm not that interested in Vegas. If I were to invest in another league, I would invest in the upcoming flag football league, which is apparently coming out next year. So that would be really interesting.
Well, yeah,
I
and
think
flag football might even be in the Olympics, or it's going to be.
It is
Yeah.
going to be. And I think that's the future of the NFL. Personally, those are my personal opinions. I know you disagree with that, and that's fine. We don't have to open that kind of worms today. But I think flag football is going to be a really hot up and coming sports only because there's so many kids going into flag football. And I think when you see like so much movement in like junior sport, it can kind of like show you where like future excitement around other sports or professional sports is going to go. So I think flag football would be a great place to invest in. In terms of a team, I'd have to like selfishly just pick a random team. Like I think it'd be fun to like invest in Miami Heat.
Nice.
It's like it's flashy. It's in Miami or the Dolphins. Like that'd be fun.
Miami.
Like,
Yeah.
why not?
Florida's good because they don't have any tax either.
Loved it. Love to see
Maybe
it.
we're going to Florida.
Yeah, see you in Florida.
I changed my mind.
Which reminds me, like I know I've talked about who I'm cheering for in the NFL, and again, it's everyone. But right now, currently, my favorite team I think is the Detroit Lions.
Naturally, they're the best team in the league.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I was being so original and cheering for an underdog.
Bandwagon girly over here.
That is so classic me. I am such a bandwagoner. I'm not a first wave person. No, I'm just like obsessed with everything about Dan Campbell, like the head coach. That's his name, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
wait,
think
or is it Will Ferrell?
literally Will Ferrell could have played him in another life.
Yeah.
If he committed to the role, he could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions are fun to watch. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's kind of fun because I, as a kid, lived in Michigan. So I feel like there's a
Detroit's in Michigan.
connection for me back to Detroit. I never went to a Lions game, but I definitely went to some Pistons games at the Palace, Malice at the Palace. I wasn't at Malice at the Palace, but I was at the venue for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a team with history, and they've struggled for a long time, and they're just finally starting to
Yeah.
have their moment
They used to be like one of the worst teams in the league, right? But it was just
Yeah.
like last
for
year
a long time.
they made a
They
run.
used to be like the Jets.
Can't get into the Jets right now. Well,
That was Mitzi's favorite team a few weeks ago.
a few weeks ago. I just can't. I'm so over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
He needs to go. Okay, what I love about the Detroit
Lions.
the team that I love, my favorite team right now that I forgot their name, is that they've got heart. And Dan Campbell, like I saw a video. This is what changed the game for me. I was just easily influenced on Instagram, but there was this video. They do this, like most teams do this. When they win a game, they have the game ball and they present it to a player of the game, whatever. It's really sweet. And they presented it to the quarterback. What's his name?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Isn't he like really highly well compensated?
Yep.
Yeah. So they presented, the coach, Dan Campbell, presented it to the quarterback. What's his name?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. And then he presented it back to Dan Campbell. And he was like, no, you're the player
Uno
of the game.
reverse card on him.
And everyone was
Wow.
cheering for him. And you could see Dan Campbell was like visibly like emotional, like so touched that they would honor him with the game ball. And the cool thing is Dan Campbell used to play in the NFL. So he's like former player turned coach. And you can I watched Hard Knocks when they did the season on his team. And you can tell, like, in the game, he, like, wants to go in there. Like, he wants to, like, let me try.
Even
like,
in practice, he's, like, down doing push-ups with the boys and slapping their bums. And
so he's, like, such a, as what they, like, I feel like they say he's, like, a player's coach.
Yeah.
And I love to see it. He's also just, like, a wholesome family man. His wife posted this photo of him at date night. And he was, like, just classic, like, button up, like, nice hair, like, cut. Out on a date with his wife before the game. It was just so sweet. It went viral because it was like so wholesome, like such dad vibes. And you just love to see like a good dad win.
Yeah, it's true. He's a good man. He seems like it.
He's a good man.
Yeah, from what we can tell. Health check on my favorite team while we're on the topic. The Colts benched their high draft pick quarterback. He's 22 years old, Anthony Richardson. They decided to bench him, which I think was the wrong decision, just because they've been winning and losing. Like I think they were 4-4 when they benched him, but they felt like their old veteran quarterback Joe Flacco gave them the best chance to win. And then Joe Flacco went out and they lost a pretty rough game this weekend after the fact. So I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed in that. I was excited about Anthony Richardson. I think they didn't give him a fair chance.
Classic upper management.
Yeah, I think it was a classic ownership decision and not a coach's decision. And the Colts owner, Jim Irsay, is he's just a curveball, loose cannon, maybe on drugs. So he continues to ruin things for us.
Yeah.
So it's hard. We've won some games, we've lost some games, but it's just going to be another mediocre season, and who knows what's going to happen with what was supposed to be our franchise quarterback.
It's too bad.
So
that's why you have to be like me and just pick a team that's hot in the day.
If I was to switch my allegiance right now to a different team, I'm not going to because I am not a bandwagon jumper. If I was to pick a new team, it would be the Green Bay Packers.
I heard they had a good game.
I feel like they lost. They lost to Detroit.
Oh,
this week.
Right.
They played a decent game, but yeah.
Isn't that where Robert Saleh is? Saleh?
Rumor has it that he's there as like an advisor.
Oh, he's not officially there.
I haven't seen anything official.
Well, good thing is football, you get a whole other week.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not sure about for you with the Lions is I don't know what I think about their merch for you. Like the lion logo. That's one thing I like about Green Bay is that's like vintage. Or I know you also like the Steelers.
I love
that's one thing I like
Steelers.
about the Steelers for you is like if you go and thrift some Steelers gear or
which I have.
Get a sweater or a hat, like that looks good.
Yeah, I do like the Steelers for merch reasons for sure. And also they have a player's coach, Mike Tomlin. Love him.
What a guy.
Also, before we move on from football stuff, did you see that Jason Kelce smashed that kid's phone?
Yeah.
I loved it. Jason Kelce is such like an honorable man.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree that he was in the right for standing up to the kid and like standing up for his brother, but I think both parties said some pretty like unsavory things. So
really,
I don't know if you
I didn't see
can
that.
fully vouch for it.
No, I was fine with it.
Cool.
I approve.
You approve of the Kelce bros.
I love
Fair
Jason
enough.
Kelce.
Jump in the YouTube comments and let us know what you think about Jason and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And T Swift.
And Kylie Kelce.
And
She's
the Detroit
also
Lions.
a queen. Kylie Kelce is such a queen because she will cheer for Travis Kelce, like go to the games, but she will not wear Kansas City merch because she's a
Philly only.
diehard Phillies fan.
Eagles fan.
Philly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Philadelphia just like loves her.
Yeah, she's like, she bleeds green.
She
Born
bleeds
and bred.
green. One thing about me, I do not bleed.
No, you're a bandwagon jumper.
I could not.
Flavor of the week for Mitzi when it comes to sports. That's okay. Hey.
It's okay.
Yeah.
At least I'm in it.
As long as you're riding the wave.
I'm riding the wave,
Yeah,
just having fun.
You're here with me having
I'm
fun.
just here for the vibes. I just want everyone to have a good time, truly.
Thank you for being here today for the vibes, having fun with us, riding the wave, jumping on the bandwagon. We got there. Make sure you head to YouTube, like, subscribe, head to Instagram, follow along, drop a comment, share it with your friends. Leave us a review. Reviews go a long way for the algorithm and just getting us served to new people that might like this kind of content. Any last words?
See you next week.
That was way too gentle that time.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was almost like healing gong vibes.
Yeah, that was like spa
the end of a
vibes.
moment.
Thank you for that.
I think I was like 80% better from this weekend, and now that gong just like the vibrations
Took you the
did
20%.
something. Yeah, I'm there now.
I think it took me 2%.
Take it all the way.